Assalamu alaikum, gentlemen. As Dr. Wali has been telling you about me, hopefully you guys can hear me now. Dr.
You're
Wali?
loud and clear. You're loud and clear. Continue,
Okay,
please.
thank you. Okay, Assalamu alaikum, gentlemen and children. I have a right to call you all children, hopefully, because of my own age or my experience. Let me tell you something about myself, first of all. First of all, my name is Muhammad Zaul Haq. I'm a retired wing commander from Pakistan Air Force. Basically, I'm an engineer, aeronautical engineer, specializing in aerospace engineering. So basically, when we look at what we are doing in Air Force, for last 25 years, I served in Pakistan Air Force on various engineering assignments, where actually we all know when we're going to talk about it, that's what we really do. After that, I served in China Airline for 2 years as a aircraft maintenance engineer, and then for about 6 years in Civil Aviation Authority dealing with aircraft engineers licenses. So my whole life, as you can say, is associated with aviation. So I thought I'll just talk a little about with aviation here. The topic that we did look at is scientific decision making. So first of all, we need to understand what do we mean by science. When we ask this question, normally the kind of answer that I do get is physics is science, chemistry is science, biology is science. But what really science is, many of the people really do not understand. Science we define as a knowledge that we have, which is based upon certain principles and certain laws. And these principles and these laws are such that they can be verified, confirmed anytime, anywhere by either experimentation or by observation. Newton's law holds good as far as the physics is concerned. If you don't believe it, just throw something up, it will be coming down to you. So basically, we can experiment and say what science is. So similarly, when we are talking about decision making, here we are to believe that what we are doing is based on certain principles or laws. So when we make a decision, what do we really do? We basically choose from a number of options. In other words, we only make decisions when we have options or we have choices or we have alternatives. If we do not have options or choices, then we don't make a decision. For example, right now, you don't have a choice whom you're going to listen, either at this time or after me. It's somebody else who's going to make that decision for you. In other words, you are not the one who's making that decision. Now, when we come to what are different kind of decisions that we talk about, we look at the decision and we find out that the decision that we have are either made impulsively, that means you just take a decision without thinking. Or do you make a decision that you have different choices and your options and you analyze them and later choose one of them? I mean, you don't do that. Normally in life, you don't put all your options, on chits in a bowl and just pick any one of them. You don't do that. In real life, what we do is we think about choices and we compare them and then we finally choose. So in other words, what we are saying is we are likely to take decision rationally. We do not take irrational decision because irrational decision, we really have no idea what the outcome is going to be. So how do we make rational decisions? Ahmed, please. Okay, when we are going to make rational decision, first thing that we need to do is we have to be very clear what our objective or goal is. What do we want to achieve? Then, of course, we need to understand why we are making the decision. If there's a problem we are going to solve, or there's an opportunity that we're going to take advantage of, only then we'll make a decision. So we need to understand the problem also. Then, of course, we all need to understand what all the various options available to us, out of which our aim is, our interest is that we should be getting the maximum output or maximum benefit from that. That should be our intention, not that we pick any solution which might give us any benefit. And of course, there should be no limitation or restriction of time or cost. That means I should not be limited that I have to take decision in the next 5 minutes. Then I will not be making a rational decision. And then of course, whatever my preferences are, my priorities are, they do not change over time. They should be stable. And then of course, whatever final preference or priority I have to choose, I should be clear about it. And once I have done that, then of course, I'm gonna make a decision or choose something out of options. This is how what we do is, where we already know that each option is gonna give us what outcome or what results we are gonna achieve if we choose a particular outcome. So this is how we make rational decisions. Now question is, do you make rational decisions? Each one of you say, yes, we do. But in reality, we don't. Why? Because when we are making rational decision, that means we know all the options and we know all the possible outcomes of those options. The problem arises that you may know a lot of things right now, you know your options and you know the outcome, but you really don't know what the outcome is going to be. Why? Because the outcome is somewhere in future and none of us knows the future. It is like, recent example, a lot of people have taken a lot of decisions regarding investment, other activities. What about coronavirus? Nobody thought about this. And result is that totally whatever decisions were taken, they don't turn out to be a good decisions. Why? Because we have no control over the future. So normally what we do is we make what we call satisficing decision. Our decision, our best decision under the present knowledge that we have. This is how we make decisions. Ahmed? Okay. So what are the different kind of decisions we make? We might be making strategic, operational decision, structured, unstructured decision. We might be making dependent, independent decision, or we might make core or boundary decision. Strategic decisions are such which encompass the whole organization and they may determine the future of the organization. For example, if you are in an airline and you decide to buy a particular type of aircraft, for example, PI decides to buy now, let's say Airbus, for the future, many years, that will be the decision which will affect them. If it is a good decision, it will benefit the airline. If it is a bad decision, then of course, the whole airline will suffer. Operational decisions are normally within a certain work area and they do not affect the whole organization. Structured decisions are where you are very clear who all are involved in making decisions and also you exactly know what the likely outcomes are going to be. So you choose out of them. Then we might be having dependent or independent decisions. Dependent decisions are those which depend upon either the past decision or which are going to affect a future decision. Let's say you have 100,000 rupees in your pocket and you promise somebody to give them 20,000. So in future, whenever you talk about an investment or doing something with that money, you do not have 100,000. You have only 80,000. Why? Because you have already taken a decision before you are going towards the next decision. That means this decision is going to be a dependent decision. Then we take certain decisions which are within organization and they do not interact with the environment, but then there are certain decisions which we call them boundary decisions. They are the one which relate you to the external environment. Like taking a decision on the type of aircraft is not limited to the airline only. It is affected by the kind of traffic we have, what kind of planes our competitor have, what FAA regulation or CA regulation tell you about it, etc. So all the kind of decisions that we might be making, it could be in any one of those decisions. Ahmed? So in other words, when we look at the decision-making process or phases, what do? First of all, we have to understand the problem. So we analyze the problem. Then we make a model solution and develop a solution for that. Then we validate that solution, and then of course implement that solution. And after implementation, we will evaluate, or we will look at the outcome and see whether our problem is solved or not solved. Next, please. So when we are looking at this process itself, and we look at it one by one, the first thing that we do is we try to understand the problem. In other words, what we need to do is we have to go and we have to look at the environment. We may be interacting with different people. We might be reading different reports. And then we will be coming across and try to understand the problem itself. Then, of course, what we need to do is that we have to develop a model. When we talk about a model is really not what you think. If we look at a picture and we think this is the model, it is not the model of our kind. What do you understand by model? When you look at a beautiful woman and you know walking on the ramp, dressed beautifully, made up beautifully, and we say, hey, she's the model. Why do we say so? Why? Because model is really nothing but it's a representation of the reality. It is not reality. When you look at an aircraft model basically tells you it is not an aircraft. What does it do? It represents what an aircraft looks like. It will tell you the kind of shape the aircraft has. It will tell you where the engines are located. It tells you what is the relationship between the wing and other part of the aircraft. But it is not an aircraft. Similarly, when we make a model, what do? We represent reality, which is not reality, but it just represents reality. So in other words, what we do is we abstract it. Abstraction basically means bringing out all the important things, all the important solutions that we have, all the important features that we want to predict, and then represent them in a way that it shows this is what the real problem is. So in our case, what we normally do is we will be making a relationship between various controllable or uncontrollable factors. Controllable factors are those which are in our control. For example, in an aircraft, temperature inside the aircraft is in your control, but outside temperature is not in your control. Number of people working in a different area or on a particular job is in your control, but outside the labor market is not in your control. The kind of aircraft you want to deploy in your fleet is in your control. But what kind of aircraft the competitor want to have is not in your control. So what do is, whenever we come across a particular problem, what we do is we try to find out relationship between different factors and relate them in a way so that it represents the actual problem. All factors which are controllable or which are uncontrollable factors, those factors are represented in a relationship or in a mathematical way or by showing different formulae or different relationship or different equations. And thus what we do is we make a model, or in other words, we make a mathematical model. For example, a very simple equation, a plus b is equal to 7 is a mathematical model. Why? Because it represents two variables and their total sum should be 7. A could be 3, b could be 4, but otherwise also a could be 4 and b could be 3 also. So basically, we are looking at different values and then we try to develop that solution with the help of the model. And once we have that solution with us, then we validate that solution, whether this particular solution is applicable in this particular environment or this situation or not. To do that, we have the data available with us. From previous data we collect, we analyze the data, and we try to apply in that particular situation and validate whether this model is going to give answers to our problems or not. Once we validate it, then we go and implement the solution so that the problem is resolved. And once the problem is resolved, then our decision is good. And if some other the problem still persists, what does it mean? It simply means that is our analysis of the problem was not right, or our factors that we did consider were not right. So we'll have to do the analysis again and go through the whole cycle. We might be using different tools and techniques that we talk about in this particular situation, and different techniques are linear programming. In linear programming, the relationship that we all have and we represent them as equations are really single power. That means you might have x plus 3 plus 5 plus 7 plus 19 y, but power of x and y will be 1. That is how the relationship is made, and that is called linear programming. So in case of linear programming, we have constraints. There are certain limitations that you can't go beyond. And then you have different variables, and you have an objective function. What do you want to achieve? Whether you want to maximize your profit, or you want to minimize your cost, or you want to minimize the time of doing a particular activity, or you might like to depend upon minimize the number of transports that you're using. For example, in an airline, you might come up with the optimum number of aircraft that you can acquire depending upon your routes and traffic and, passengers, government regulation, all those. In case of game theory, we have different approaches where actually there are competitiveness is there. That means there are two people who are competing one another, or it could be more than two people. That means you are against 4 people and you are competing with them. Here, what happens is that your win or your gain is on the cost of somebody else's loss. For example, in our local aviation market, if one airline is getting more and more passengers, that means some other airline is losing those passengers. So this is what we call the game theory. Then we come to decision theory. Decision theory is where we are taking decision, either we are certain what all factors are involved and what all outcomes will be there. Or it could be a situation like that where we are uncertain and the result is that we are not sure what the outcome will be in each situation. So we use probability theory in that particular situation. Queuing theory we use where we have to make queues. So I mean, very simple. You go to an airport, you are forming queues before you get your boarding pass. You are forming queues before you go enter the aircraft, get seated. The aircraft is making queue if there are a number of aircraft which are required to take off. Aircraft reaches their destination and there may be a queue because number of aircrafts are landing. So your turn comes after when the early aircraft lands. So there are queues. So what we like to do is we want to make the minimum waiting time for those people involved. And at the same time, we want to minimize the cost of providing those services. Then we might have inventory model. Inventory model we use where we are having different parts or components coming in store and going out, being used. We'll have to make in a way so that the cost of ordering the thing, receiving the thing, storing the thing is minimized. Then, of course, we can do for simulation. Simulation is the technique where we actually don't want to do that particular activity physically, but we might use a computer to do that for us so that there are no losses. The best example of simulation is aircraft simulators, where you go and sit in a simulator and you fly that aircraft to any part of the world or any airport, and you're supposed to land there or take off from there, but actually you are just sitting on the ground. So something happens, you crash the aircraft, no loss. Why? We are just simulating. Then another technique we might use is non-linear programming. In non-linear programming, the relationship between different variables is not linear. That means the power may be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 kind of thing. Then we might be doing integer programming. In integer programming, we make the relationship in a way so that the outcome or the result or variables are integers. We cannot have 3.2 aircrafts, or we cannot have 27.3 people. So we have to have integer in that particular case. So this is what we do. We make integer programming that way. Then we have Markov process where we look at the different variables, different states, they keep changing. For example, we understand it today, this will be the state, this will be the condition, and 2 days after the situation is going to change, the condition is going to change. In that particular case, we might be using Markov process. Another technique, last but not the least, is network scheduling. Network scheduling we normally use when we are doing project planning or trying to control the different projects. In that, we have two different techniques. One is CPM and other is PERT. PERT. CPM stands for critical path method. In that, we analyze the whole project itself and see where are the situation where we cannot afford any delay, because any delay on any of the point will result into overall project delays. And there may be certain areas where a delay really doesn't matter because the other activities are going on at the same time. Ultimately, the project gets complete. We look to it. Technique is called critical path method. The other is programmed evaluation and review technique. In this particular technique, what to do is we periodically keep reviewing and keep updating our different dates of completion of different activities. So finally, we can say that yes, this project will be completed by such and such date. This was a brief review of various techniques that we are using for making decisions. Thank you very much for this patient listening. Hope I tried to give you awareness of certain things which you may not be aware at this particular stage, but when you come to real life, you will realize that these are the techniques which will make you perform in a better way, in an optimum way, in such a way that ultimately you are able to achieve your goals with minimum cost or within minimum time, or you are achieving the best results. Thank you very much. Good luck to you all. If you have any questions, I'll be able to inform.